What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Lions Den with Seth. Hopefully, you're having a good day, a good week, and just living life the best way possible, y'all. So, if this is your first time on, this is what we do, y'all. We have conversations about leadership, growth, and development from the household to out in the community, right? And so we connect with all different individuals, all just walks of life, right, to help to inspire you and actually inspire us too. You never know, right? Because we've had some outstanding guests, and I wouldn't be able to do this. We wouldn't be able to do this without viewers like you, and then also with hosts, co-hosts like Big Herm. What's up, bro? How you feeling, dog?
Man, I'm feeling all right, man. You see the temperature starting to change outside.
Well, it's so far, it's out of line and it's disrespectful, bro. I'm
One,
not, yeah.
bro, 1 minute, you know that it's really about to get bad here soon. It's already starting to get cold for real. So
Yeah, man. I got a little weather notification saying that the snow is coming soon. I'm like, what is going on? But yeah, it's ridiculous. How was your weekend, man?
man, really pretty good, man. We had an event, um, our Veterans Day event
Okay.
over at the Cleveland Center, Veterans Day celebration.
Mhm.
Had a lot of people in the community come out and do that.
Okay.
We also had a Veterans Day parade that I wasn't able to attend. I wasn't feeling that well, so but I saw some
Mhm.
video footage of it, man, and it looked really nice.
It was
Yeah,
dope.
yeah. How about
Yeah.
your weekend?
Man, it was good, bro. Had a man had an event. Actually, DJ'd for a lady's 70th birthday party. Man, it was super dope, man. It was very nice, and just seeing how the community showed up for her and her kids, grandkids, and everybody. That was super dope. And then got a chance to hang out with some old Lions. You know what I mean? Will and Nathan. Right? Yeah, got a little chance, man, to really connect, man. It's always good, bro. Just to, break bread. So it was actually good. So I'm still kind of tired because I guess, man, my body ain't as young as it used to be, man. Hey, after 9 o'clock, I'm starting to shut down. You know what I mean?
Hey, but it's a good feeling to be able to get to that point anyway, though, right?
That is. So what you think about today's show, bro?
Man, I think today's show is a show that we've been looking for a while. We've
Hmm.
always talked about putting people in front of our audience that can help with some information. Just to be a betterment to the community.
Yeah.
And I've known this man for about a couple years now. We go to the same gym. We've always had these conversations, right?
Hmm.
And I was like, hey, you'll make a really good guest. Rapping with you about him, and everything seems to fall into place. I really want to talk about how he stunted on the Veterans Day parade.
What you
Man,
mean? You
man, this dude.
let him tell him? You gonna let him? You gonna let him
I'm gonna,
tell him?
I'm gonna I'm gonna have to let him tell it, man. But I seen the video footage of it. I was like, you brought that out, okay? Well,
But what about this? Like, why are we having this conversation? You think, though, man? As far as breaking into into the business.
because I think what a lot of times when people talk about business, right?
Hmm.
You kind of want validation that person know what they're talking about,
Very true.
right? You gonna tell me about business, but you still stay with your mama house. You know what
Right.
I mean? Nothing wrong with staying at your mama house. I ain't knocking nobody, but I'm saying,
Right. Like how good? Like how can you tell me about mine when? Yeah, I get you.
how you gonna teach me about business?
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? How you but then when you have somebody that has a proven product, it's something that you really probably wouldn't put too much thought into, like what really just off that.
Right.
I think that it's important to hear what he got to say because it's not about what he does, it's
Mhm.
really about how he does it, you
I
know?
love it. I love it. All right, then. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. John Taylor to the building. And look, we're gonna clap it up for him. I don't got my button next to me, but it's all good. How you feeling, brother? How you doing? How you doing?
Hey, not too bad, not too bad.
Good, man. Well, look, welcome to the Lions Den, bro. Man, it's such an honor, man, having you on and everything, man. So, do you mind just telling our audience a little bit about you, brother?
Uh, and what you want to know?
Well, just let's
Yeah,
start off with your background. Where you from?
yeah,
Your experience and what you're doing now.
there you go.
Okay. Well, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, born and raised. Um, I like to consider myself, man, I'm just a regular old guy. You know, went in the military, you know, did my time in the military, came out, started a business, and, here I am
Here you
today.
are.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Well, no, that's good, man. So, check it out, man. Like, what inspired you to actually take a? Well, first of all, you did the military, right? United States Army, correct?
Correct.
All
Go
right.
Army.
Look at you, go Army, and congratulations. You know what I mean? Thanks for serving. Also, too, thanks for everybody else that's listening that have served. We do appreciate you, right? By doing what you do for our country. But what inspired you to take that leap into entrepreneurship, man? After serving in the military, because some individuals they have those dreams, those aspirations, but they never really get to the point where they're betting on themselves.
I, well, I knew that. So what my main source of thing that I'm really involved is in lawn and landscaping, and that's something that my big passion was to do. And coming out of the military, being in charge, most of my career, you know, uh, I I just didn't see myself working for anybody, and I just knew that it was something out there greater for me, and I kind of like wanted to always be my own boss. And I always had that mentality, you know um you know um like being in the military, being a company first sergeant, you're in charge, good or bad, just just the reward to see that my company's doing great, and I'm a big part of that, and I just wanted that outside of the military, so that kind of really helped inspire me to do that.
That's dope.
Now, staying in that realm, do you feel like there's like lessons or things that you've learned while you was in the army that helps you with how you run your business now?
Oh, absolutely. Like one of the biggest things that I took from the military into my business is punctuality. You know, you got to be on time. You know, uh, planning. So it was a lot of the things that I learned from the military, that the same tools that I taught in the military, I brought it over to my business, and that's one of the reasons why I'm successful as I am today. Is the tools and stuff that I learned from the military.
No, that's dope, man. And so I do agree that punctuality is one of those things, and it's many of them. But can you talk about what specifically helped you to land your first clients? You get what I mean? Like what skill do you think it was? Was it the customer service? Was it the fact that people saw, hey, how you did your landscape and everything, and then they sought you out? Like, how did you land it?
Definitely my work ethics, and my talent.
Mhm.
Because let's face it, you can have a great work ethics, but you can lack the talent. You can have a good talent and no work ethic. I know a lot of great barbers that know how to cut hair really, really good, but they don't have no work ethics. They're always late. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm about to do this, and oh yeah, I see what happened was, or you go up to, your hour is supposed to be 9 o'clock, it's 11 o'clock. I'm like, man, forget them. But they really good.
Mhm.
You know, um, it was my work ethics and my talent that landed me, my first, major client.
Mm.
You know, yeah.
Super dope.
So, John, backing up a little bit, of when you initially first started this lawn care business. So I'm assuming you already knew as soon as you got done with the Army, lawn care was it was going to be your avenue. Now, was this always a solo mission, solo venture, or did you have others that was going to get involved with you into business?
So I always knew that that I was going to go back to lawn care because I grew up doing lawn and landscaping. As a matter of fact, that's the only job that I had growing up. I want to say, since I was 8 years old, I was out there with my uncles and my cousins, and just learning the business, working in the business. When I was like I said, after the military, while I was in the military, I was doing lawns on 4-day weekends, doing it on the weekends when I was on leave, all that good stuff. Um, when I got out of the military, I was working a job, and I met my best friend, who is now my best friend, and we was talking about going in business together, and so I guess to answer your question, I did have someone that I supposed to have went in business with
Okay.
originally. Yeah.
So we all know that going into business or doing anything seriously is a risk, right? So
Yeah.
how would you say your mindset helped you to bet on yourself?
I, I would say, you know, originally, like I said, I supposed to be, me and my friend, we talked about like, oh yeah, you cut grass, like yeah, hey, me too, and we was always talking about starting a business. Hey, let's do a business together, and so I literally like came up with a business plan. As a matter of fact, we was on a lunch break, and I wrote out a business plan, and we was talking it through, and we hey, when we're gonna start it, we're gonna start it this, this next season coming up, we're gonna be ready. And when we got up to, to that point, like, okay, this is when we need to have money due at this point in time. He didn't have his money at the time, and it was just like I could have been like, oh man, this is not gonna work. Supposed to have my business partner, and he fell through. But it was just like, you know what, I'm going to do it, and no matter what, because it was already in me, and I was investing into myself. And I knew right then, even though I had somebody that said that they was going to go in business, and because I know people will fail you, and and it was kind of like a backup. I always had a backup plan, even though I was planning. But I also had, okay, what happens if he don't come up with the money? What you going to do? So I was already had a plan B in place just in case it didn't work. So, and that's how it kind of like planned out. It was like, well, we can't be partners. You can work in the business, but we can't be partners.
Hmm. No, I like that. Oh, you muted her.
So now you in your lawn care business, you're starting it out and everything is going smooth. I want to fast forward a little bit, even if we go back a little bit, go back later. But I want to go forward just a little bit.
Okay.
What sets you apart from other lawn care businesses, really? And here's why I ask this. I view you as fairly successful based on what you've been able to accumulate, and how much I've seen your trucks around the city. I'm not sure. I don't know much about lawn care business and how lucrative it really is, right? But I don't see many other lawn care businesses in town doing it like that. I could be wrong. You know what I mean? I don't know. But what do you think it is about your business that sets you apart from the 1,000 lawn care businesses that are in Clarksville, Tennessee? What makes you special?
Well, that's a great question. A couple of things. Um, One, my office always pick up the phone. A lot of times, people's calling around, and it's like, nobody's picking up their phone. Like once you get a certain amount, once you get your client base, they stop answering the phones. We always answer the phone. I always have, somebody's there to take the calls. We like to set ourselves apart. That we're going to show up. We're going to be in a proper uniform. Whatever we tell you that what we're going to do, that's what exactly what we're going to do. You're paying for a service. We're going to give you that service. We're going to give you that good quality of service that you're paying for. That's kind of like the biggest things that kind of like set us aside. We pay attention to detail. We inspect all of our properties before we leave. If something is not right, if a customer calls like, hey, the guys, left the gate open, or they forgot to blow off the back patio. I know a lot of lawn guys, okay, well, we'll get this next time. No, all right, don't worry about it. My quality and control team will be over there to take care of that right away. So it's just going above and beyond for that customer service. And that's one of the few things that set us uh, uh, aside.
You know what? That's that's pretty huge. And me and Herm, we talked about this often about Chick-fil-A. Not just about how good the sandwiches are, because he would let us know.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, the customer service is top tier. You know what I mean? And the crazy part is, it's something so small, but it's so impactful, right? Just by following through, right? And just that 1%, that extra step. But that's super dope, man. Kudos to you for doing that, and everybody else that put that extra little bit of love in their business, because I promise you, it goes a long, long way. Now, it's cool, right? We're talking about the business, the ebbs of it, but what about the flows of it, but the ebbs, meaning, the hurdles that you had to, overcome, as far as being, because you're successful now, but I mean, did you come out the door that way, right? Like, what did you have to learn along the way? Like, man, I stepped in something. You know what I mean? What was that?
Okay, yeah. So some hurdles for me, man. So when I started, when I started my business, no, I didn't have anybody to teach me about business, and like I said, growing up in the lawn care business, I was just a worker, and so I knew that side of it. I can do a lawn very, very well, paying attention to detail, all that good stuff. You can have all of that. I had all of that. But the one thing that I did not understand how an actual business worked, that you actually need a business license. So when I got started, I was out there and I was doing good word of mouth, and then next thing I know, within when in my first year, I received a letter saying that, hey, we it's been reported that you've been operating as a business and you don't have a business license, and you got 30 days to come in compliance, or you're gonna have to pay this fee. And I was like, oh my God, like what? Nobody told me. So it was lesson one. you know um my people perish for the lack of knowledge. Hey, listen, just because you don't know, it don't mean it don't
Right.
you know I don't know is not an excuse.
Right.
you know so it, you know jumping through that hoops and trying to get everything, it's like, oh my God, like, where do I go? Who am I supposed to talk to? How am I supposed to do that? How much does this cost? It was that was like my first stress point, because I honestly did not know.
No
But it,
doubt,
it
man.
was it was a costly lesson, though, huh?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So
It
even
was like that. Welcome to business.
Right.
so even going through that, John, how did you know? Like, what was your moment where you knew you was gonna be okay? Like, you know what? This is really gonna see me through right here. What was that moment for you that triggered like, yeah, I see what I'm doing and I know where I can take this.
Um, uh, that's that's a good question because when you start off a business, you only thing you have is your faith, and and you're just like, okay, I know I can do it, but I can't, I believe it, but I don't see it right now because everything that can go wrong is going to go wrong, and it's like, oh my God, but I'm pushing through, and it's I think when everything can start, starting to smooth out, it's like, you know what, I'm gonna be all right, and when I started setting goals and when I started hitting targets in my small monuments, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be all right. But you definitely, and you're not gonna realize that, or you're not gonna notice that unless you start to really start setting like milestones, small goals and stuff to see if you're on target.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And look, shout out to everybody that's watching right now and that's listening in. And look, if this is something that you're interested in, just make sure you comment, hey, me too. All right. As far as wanting to start your own business and wanting to understand a little bit more about how business is started specifically by Mr. Taylor, because he's getting it in. Now, brother, we talked about this behind the scenes as far as how important it is to have multiple streams of income. Now, you're pretty successful in what you're doing right now, but why do you think in this economy, especially right now, it's important to have more than just one source or more than one stream?
Well, I mean, it's definitely important to have multiple streams because and different types of income, because there's some incomes the only time you're going to make that income is less unless you are actually present. If you call out sick, you don't make no money that day. But when you start getting into more different types of income, like passive income, you can kind of like set it, forget it, and you can go to sleep and you know that you're going to make money. So it's definitely important to have learn about what works for you, understand supply and demand, and know your location, know your target audience, and being able to supply what your target audience is demanding.
Mm-hmm.
you know um, that's my take on that.
Yeah, that makes sense. What you think, Herm? You think how important is it for you, man? You think, Herm, as far as multiple streams of income, especially today, man? You know what I mean? Cost of living is crazy. You know what I mean? And what you think?
I think anytime, today, yesterday, tomorrow, you know what I'm saying? Anytime you got to be able to diversify because you never know what's going to get shut off one day. You know what I mean? You got to understand that, you know what I mean? Like if somebody has 100% control of whatever you got going on, then you in a bad position.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you got to find another way to be able to be like, okay, if this falls short, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
If this falls short, I got this.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But my question, John, for that, speaking on that, is there any systems that you rely on in business that you that's your go-to doctrine? Like, this is my system. This is what I know that works. Um, or is there a system at all in your business model?
um I I would say because you know we living in a time where things is forever changing, and you know sometimes you have to be able to know when to adjust, because you can have a system in place, but sometimes things don't always go as planned, or sometimes systems can be outdated. So just kind of like knowing how to move, and like, because I know for me, like I have a system. Like there's certain systems that I have in place that I use from the military. Proper planning. Knowing what I got for the week. Knowing how to get new clientels. And just being able to be just stay proactive, learning new things. How I can better my business. As long as you're doing that, you know, um, I think you'd be all right.
No, that makes sense, man, and I appreciate that. That was a real good answer, and hopefully individuals can reflect on that in the same point. So, with that, it's also too important as we are talking about business and making decisions. What would you say was one of the biggest decisions that you made in your business? You get what I mean? Like it could have been anything like, hey, for now on, I'm not going to use this strategy, or I'm going to approach my customer base this way moving forward because I've learned, or I've been in situations where uh, individuals didn't really know how to set their prices correctly. Like, what decisions did you make for you that you have no kidding learned and that you stick to based off of lessons learned?
I I would say, believe it or not, people, man. Not being too trusting of people. You know, I guess like when you're in charge and you're responsible for people, and people will come in your business and say like, oh, I think we should do it this way, or what, at my last job, lawn service business, we was doing it like this and this, and people will try to come in and naturally you're like, okay, try to please people. You'll start going, and try those little different ways, and sometimes when you're doing that, it can kind of like disrupt your
Mhm.
flow of what you're doing, and that person is not even guaranteed to even be here
Right.
90 days. And I'm just like, man, I changed this for this person, and then look up 35 days later, they moved on to the next job and stuff. So one of the things that I had to learn to say, like, you know what, I got to run this business the way I need to run the business to continue to move forward, and honor and respect the people that's been with me, and that's in the trenches, that's been grinding, and value their opinion versus some over azaleas person. Not saying there's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes people can come in your business brand new, full of ideals and stuff, but you don't know how long they're going to be around. So it's
Mm,
like, all right, that's a good point. Let's circle back on that in 90 days and see where we at.
that's right.
You
Or see where you at.
Well, see,
Right.
right, exactly.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
John, do you have any mentors when it comes to the lawn care game, or is it just an overall business mentor, if any at all?
You know, at this point, sadly, I only have one mentor. Some of the ones that I looked as a mentor, they became, for whatever reason, envious of me because me starting out, I was hungry. I was a student. Like teach me, how do you get to do this, or I'm running to these things, and me being a student to them, I was their student, and I started mastering, and my business started to grow and outgrow their business, and some starting to kind of like, you know what, you know they didn't all of a sudden have enough time for me, kind of like like push me to the side because I was growing so fast and I became big that it was like, well, you don't need me. And I was like, no, like, like, hey, I'm here to learn, and so I lost a couple of mentors that was mentoring me, and because of I was just outgrowing them, and some of them they just couldn't take that, that I was outdoing them, you know, um, which it's sometimes it happens, you know. So yeah, for the people that's listening in, like, hey, sometimes when you're good and you start outgrowing and or outshining the person that's teaching you, sometimes they can naturally feel threatened by you and then just shut off, you know.
Oh,
That's
man.
kind of what happened to me.
Yo, Herman, what you think about that, man? This is real talk, right? And ladies and gentlemen, that does make sense. Like, sit in that for a second. There are like being a mentor. The goal is to help to perpetuate, well, not perpetuate, excuse me, to propel someone forward, right? And in their life, you still have your own, but it's still like, hey, you're helping a person along. And have y'all ever really, well, I know you've spoke on it, John, but Herm, have you ever felt the way when a person kind of, it was like a passive aggressive, just a pullback, like, okay, and it could be that they felt jealous or they felt as though, well, you don't need me anymore, but it's like that conversation never really happens. The question is, I guess, does it need to happen, or is it just assumed that you've just outgrown a person or they have nothing else to teach you?
Well, I think it's interesting for me because all my mentors are military mentors,
Okay.
and so I don't really have any mentors in my civilian
Mm.
career as to speak. But with that, like I passed up my mentors, a couple of my mentors, as far as when it come to rank, right? And they made a comment before. It's like, oh no, yeah, you a E8, you don't need, you outrank me, right? And I
Mm.
remind them, hey, man, it don't matter if I had all the stripes.
That's
You,
right.
know, you still the top dog because they the ones that brought me up. You know what
Correct.
I mean? But the difference in that is that me and those people aren't competing like John and his mentors were. I'm assuming that they're in Clarksville too. You
Right.
know what I mean? So that's a little bit different. You know what I mean? It's like I mentor you in the business space that I'm in, right? Like, hey, yeah, come here, little John. Let me show you some stuff, little guy here. Push the
Yeah.
lawnmower, you know what I mean? Next thing you know, he done blew up, right? He done blew up.
And got a team of people.
Yeah, yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? And again, they all eat off the same business. So it's like, damn, what did I tell him that didn't work for me?
Right.
You know what
Mhm.
I mean? So it's like, what the fuck? What happened? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not that, I could kind of see where they would get frustrated and probably be like, damn, that's just a reminder of, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ran my mouth. I need to go back and review the tape, what I said, because,
Right.
you know, so, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, I think it's a different space when you are all competing for the same customers. You know what I mean? And yeah.
But then, even though, man, it's like, isn't it? And I'm asking you this, and John, specifically in your realm, right? Because there's not going to be any new land being created, so to speak. But is there enough business for everybody? You think?
Man, it's well. Let me correct you, and Herm, you can. Hey, listen, here in Clarksville, ain't a tree safe around here. You
Hmm.
know, they listen. They constantly they finding new land. So it's listen. That's enough land out here. It's enough grass out here for everybody. But it's you can't get it all. I mean, you just can't. So it's like one of those things. So there's really no reason to be jealous or in competition. Because me, I'm not in competition with nobody. And I think that was the thing that kind of like hurt, with even with my mentors and stuff that, the ones that kind of like mentored me, because like I said, I'm coming from the military, even though I grew up doing this, but it's like, okay, now I'm doing this full time. You guys been out here, these guys been out here 20 plus years. So I'm like, I'm learning about like coming into a neighborhood. This is new territory. You got other lawn service looking at you like, hey, who are you? What you doing in my, hey, you need to find you somewhere else. Hey, this my spot. Like, hey, this my corner.
Yeah,
Hey,
my church.
Paying homage. Like, hey, hey, you need to talk to me before you come into this neighborhood and stuff. So it's like learning those different things. I'm being respectful because in business, if you got to know how to move in certain businesses, because people that's in your field, if you show disrespect, man, like people will team up, they'll set you up, they'll try to ruin your good name, all that stuff. Sometimes you can just be doing everything right, and just because you're excelling, people ain't gonna like that. One of my mentors, he was like, oh yeah, this year, I made, I made $100,000, and I knew that it was different when I had told this particular mentor that I was like, okay. He was like, well, how much did you make? When I was like $100,000, I said, well, I made almost 300 grand this year. And he was like, what? How you do? I'm like, I did everything you told me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, boom, conversation dead. Never heard from him again.
Wow.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah. Never heard from him again.
I'm just saying.
Next mentor. Hey, how much, and because like I said, I was taking the tools and stuff that I was learning and creating my own, okay, have another conversation, me being, modest, all right, hey, it was a good year for me, man. I made, 200,000. Oh, okay. Well, I made almost 500,000 this year. What? Like, how you do this? Boom, ghost me. Never heard from him again.
You will figure that. See, and that's where the pride stuff come into play. Yeah. Because now I'm trying to find out just the same way that I helped you. Hopefully, you can help me get a. You know what I'm saying?
But then don't want to say nothing though. I don't want to say it.
Shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then with the collaboration, who knows? Everybody be doing well.
Right. Exactly. And that's one of the things I believe in now. I mean, there's multi-millions of dollars that has moved through my business now, and man, I help anybody because I know what it feels like to want help, and and trying like honestly get advice and work together with people, and people just shoot you along. So now I've built and mentor other lawn service, and not just lawn service, but other business, people that got business ideals and stuff like that, because I have multiple streams, and just talk. Okay, all right, well, you want to start this business? Well, let's talk. Where are you at? Where's your 3-year plan? Where's your 5-year plan? Okay, all right, well, why haven't you started this? What's the reason why? How could I assist you, into moving, to the next step, so just, I've learned now to be a blessing back to people, because I know I didn't get a lot of that stuff in the beginning.
Right. So that's super dope, man. But look, here's a question. How do you know a person is mentor ready, right? How do you know that the person that says they have a business, that they're really ready for you to even invest your time into them? Because I mean, look, time is, it's not limitless,
I think it was one of those things, I think we were talking about before we got on. I believe in, well, one of my favorite Christian rapper lyrics said, you could be a dreamer, but don't live in your bed. If you come to me and you talking about a business, because like you said, time is everything. Don't waste my time. And how I know if you're serious about business, Okay, all right. Schedule a time that works for you, not for me. I would adjust. Let's meet and let's see. I would like to see your business portfolio. I want to know like your 3-year goals, your 5-year goals. You got a vision statement, or it's okay if you don't have that. Let me see what you got.
That's right.
Let's schedule a meeting. If you can't make that first meeting for whatever reason, you ain't serious about it.
Yeah.
Because people who's serious about business,
That time. Yeah.
you're gonna make that time. If I told you, hey, listen, if you show up, it would like it's 6:41 right now. If I told everybody that's listening right now, hey, listen, I have $1 million for you, guaranteed. If you all will meet me at 1:00 a.m., find a way, fly, get home, on a Greyhound, horseback ride, swim, fly, whatever you got to do. But everybody that meets me at this location at this time, I will personally hand you $1 million. You're gonna be there, right?
All right.
But why we can't do that the same way? They're like, hey, listen, I'm willing to invest in your business ideal. I think you got a good plan, and I can help you, I can mentor you and help grow your business where you can make millions of dollars. But you're not even on time for that. You're time wasted. You're dreaming, still living in your bed. That's how I know.
See, what you think, Herm?
Man, I think that he's absolutely right because
That hit hard, didn't it? I mean, there's many people that's on that, bro.
right, man. Because if you say it's important for you, you got to sacrifice something. And if this means you sacrificing some sleep or whatever to get to an appointment that could change your life, but sometimes people that get paralyzed just by the thought of it might become successful. You know what I mean? Or now I got to put some action behind these thoughts, and I've never done that before.
That's right.
I mean, I just always thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a question about when we talk about multiple streams and stuff like that. Are there any side ventures or investments that have surprised you with their success that you've been into? Outside of lawn care and stuff like that, is there anything else that you dabbled in that you was like, wow, I didn't think that this would be that great, but this is being pretty productive for me?
Yeah. So believe it or not, acorns. It's I'll use that for example. It's rounding up spare change. Like just coins that you just not gonna think about. And it literally adds up when if you link your different cards and different accounts and stuff, and over time, like it surprised me. I think just to be transparent, in less than 2 years, my acorns had went up to like, I don't know, like almost 25 grand. And I'm just like, oh man, just rounding up change, because through Acorn you can, once it gets up to, I think it's like $5, it invests in the market, and you can change different strategies where if you wanted to invest, conservative, moderate, aggressive, different things like that. So, that's one of my little side hustles, Acorns, Robinhood, Bitcoin. It's a lot of little things that's out here. I do a lot of silent investing in companies. If you tell me that, if I see that you got a talent, there's certain people that have came to me that that they can do the business. They just didn't have the capital to start. And I have it. Okay, well, I'll be a silent partner. I will invest in your company, and I get this percentage, and of course, you got me as your mentor because I want you to win. Because if you're winning, I'm winning.
Right.
So yeah, definitely.
See, no, that's super dope, man. And so those multiple streams is cool, and I do appreciate you saying that. Now, what would you tell individuals about um, is making sure that they have the right people on their side, right? Making sure that they're surrounding themselves in, with the right circle of individuals. How important has that been for you, from, the military, post-military, and being in this space that you're in right now?
You know, having the right people around you, it's the key. I mean, it's definitely key because, listen, let me tell you, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to tell you that, well, one, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to talk you out of doing some things and stuff. There's people right now that's sleeping on their goals and their dreams because somebody that they trusted that they was close with, didn't believe in them. Of saying like, well, I think it's a bad idea. But then, you look at their lifestyle and see what they're doing, they ain't really doing anything.
Right.
And if you can't sleep because you're thinking about these ideals and stuff like that, man, you listen, you're a millionaire in the making. You just need to be surrounding the right people. I was telling somebody the other day that, there's a lot of people where you are 3 people away from success. You just got to get in position with the right people that can see your vision, understand your vision, help promote and grow and encourage your vision. Getting with the right people. Sometimes some people just need to discard all unproductive and wrong relationships. I don't care who it is. If your mama is a nagging Nancy, negative Nancy, hey, look, my mom taught you later.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If your brother is, oh man, I don't think that's a good idea. Well, why? But if they can't articulate why it's a bad idea, it's like, I don't know, because I heard this. Nah. Get rid of those people that's in your life. I had plenty of people, even in, when I started my business. Oh, hey, Battle, man, why you want to do this? Man, I got this equipment already, but they really don't want to see you outshine or out better them. You know what I'm saying? And I remember before I bought my own big heavy piece of equipment, I had a guy. He was letting me rent it out to him, and when he started seeing that I was making money with his machine, he increased the price. Now this is supposed to be my friend. He got jealous because I was making money off his machine. He was charging me a price. I was like quadrupling the amount of money with his heavy piece of machine. And then, he raised the price. All right, no problem. And I started to make even more money, even though he increased the price. I said, you know what? I'm going to buy my own. I bought my own. I dropped that friend, and never look back. So surrounding yourself with the right people that's going to believe in you, that can mentor you. You know what I'm saying? In life, you always, you should always have somebody that you can look up to, that's doing better than you. Yes, I'll say it again. You need people in your life that is better than you, that make, that's more successful than you. Because guess what? You can, that's my goal. I'm trying to get where you at, right? So you got somewhere you can look forward to. Then while you're talking and when you're speaking, surround yourself with people of like-minded people that's on the same level. Guess what? Now you're sharper than earn. Earn is sharper than earn. And then you need to have some people that's trying to get where you at. So it's like they're watching you, you're watching them, and it's like a chain, and we're all pulling one another. So it's almost like I got my hand here, I'm right here. I'm looking, side by side, like, hey, you got this, and I'm helping my person that I mentor along the way. We're all helping one another. That's what it's about.
Look, how many times we talked about that, bro? That same type of thing, bro. It's like having 3 sets of people at all times, and it's a circle, and then it changes. Because it's times when that that the person that you're mentoring, it might be iron sharpening iron there, and then they can start to mentor you. You know what I mean? You have to be able to take that, and go along that whole circle of business life, if you will, and those relationships. Man, that's super dope, man. I appreciate you sharing that. What you got, Big Herm?
Hey, first and foremost, John, man, I want to say thank you for coming on to the show, right? And what I do also want to say about you as a man is that before all the stuff that I knew about all the stuff and that you have and how successful your business was, right? I just knew you as the guy that knew everybody in the gym. I mean, you speak to every damn person in the gym, man. I'm like, goodness, this dude is the mayor of the gym, man. You know what I mean? But it's because you're the kind of person that never really meet a stranger. And I think this is the reason why businesses work for you, because no matter how much stuff or how successful you get, you're still the same person that's open to have a conversation with anybody. You know what I mean? Even the little slow dude, you know what I'm saying, in the gym, you know what I mean, that waits for hours and speaks to you, and I just laugh.
Yeah,
I
you
thought
Oh,
that
he
was
almost ran me over one day, man.
oh
Boy,
man.
man, he almost ran me over, and he tried to act like I don't know that's him. He's driving for Uber, almost ran my Corvette right off the road, man. I'm like, yo,
Oh
are you
man.
serious? I'm looking right at him. He's not looking at me. But anyway,
Yeah.
your
you
little
gonna see him
man,
tomorrow. You gonna see
but
him in the morning.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
but
He'll be waiting on me.
yeah, he waiting right there on for the stairmaster for you to look at him. But anyway, uh, thank you for coming on, man, passing on this information for folks. I think that you do have a genuine heart, and that when you really mean it, when you say that, you're an open book for people to come, learn from you. And I saw you passing out funds to people over there on the Veterans Day parade. My people got a few dollars from you, man. So I just know in your heart that you just really want to help folks, and I look forward to seeing that come through.
Yeah, the parade from yesterday, man. My goal was like to like literally give away, about $10,000, just free money, And some people was like, is this real? And when people started really realize, like, oh snap, this real money, and it was people just grabbing, and you know, um, one thing about being successful, man, I can tell you, it feels good to be able to give back, and not forgetting where you came from. Man, I tell you, man, I got, God has blessed me. I mean, I got cars for days, man. Uh, you know, I got well over $500,000 in cars and, just stuff, I can go and travel anywhere and around the world. I take anywhere my wife want to go. I just tell her, baby, if you want to go here, let me know. And we go. We've been to all the continents except for Antarctica, and that's on the list to go. But man, when I tell you, when you do make it and take it for somebody like me, it's still surreal for me, and but never forget where you come from. I really try to just stay, humble, um, give back. I give back to my church. I pay my tithes to the church. Like I said, I'm always giving. I have a heart for the people. I have a respect for the people, and I made it, and I'm very successful. But I want other people to make it as well. But I also, know that, you're not going to be able to help everybody. Everybody's not going to understand what you're trying to do. So it's like, go where you celebrate it instead of staying in a place where you just tolerate it.
Right.
That's the best advice that I can give to people, man. It's great to have money and it feels good, but never have a love for it. Like I said, man, I can buy, I just I can't believe I'm saying it feels weird sometimes, but like, the new Lamborghini I just got, I paid cash for it, so just being able to go to a dealership, hey, I want that Lamborghini, and here you go. Here's cash, what I mean? Here's a cashier's check. It's amazing, but I just still look at myself, man, I'm just a regular guy, man. I'm no better than the next person.
Absolutely.
What, man, again, we thank you for being on, man, being transparent, being humble, and we've actually talked about this before. We're all people, right? But there's a, let's say biologically we're the same, but mentally we're different. You know what I mean? There's some exception to the rule because I do believe everyone has a God-given talent that they have not opened up. They have not been able to invest in. So, congratulations on doing what individuals are capable of doing. You get what I mean? And that's what I truly do believe. What sets people apart and believing in not just their dreams but being able to know that they can't do it by themselves and always being willing, to give it back. So, man, I want to thank you for being an example and also being on the show, man. We appreciate that, bro. We really do. Let me see. Got this going on for you. I want to make sure yeah, yes,
Appreciate
sir.
y'all. I
So, hey,
appreciate
but
y'all.
look, yeah, man, real talk. So, hey, stand by, brother. We still gonna be on. We still gonna have you on the background. But, ladies and gentlemen, we wanna make sure that y'all excuse me, 1 second. I think it's getting flip floppy. Anyway, but ladies and gentlemen, hopefully y'all enjoyed this show. Everything was good today. Make sure you share this. This type of information needs to be out there for you. And we're gonna have some information pushing out a little bit later on as far as John Taylor. Thanks again, brother. And we're going to see y'all soon on the flip flop. Right on? You have a good one.
Hey,
Later.
too.